There we go. Oh, wait. There we are. Hello, everybody. Here we are for the third and final part to our series, all about, the top three simplest steps on the planet in order to avoid overwhelm in 2022. And I'm just ready to dive right in and go ahead and close this out. So let's get started. All right, so Valerie Walton here at valeriewalton.com, coming to you live from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And like I said, we're going to close this series out. Now, we've been talking about building up your audience, engaging with your audience, and now finally today we can talk about selling to your audience. Notice the sequence that we're going through because so many people start off in their business trying to just go straight to the sale. And again, we've talked about the various reasons why people do that. A lot of times network marketers get started in network marketing because they're already in a position where their back is up against the wall financially and they need to make money and they need to do it fast. So they're in survival mode, they're in panic mode. And that is not the best mode to be in when you're trying to start a business, because then you're sabotaging yourself because you're not thinking long term. You're not thinking about sustainability. You're thinking about survival. So hopefully we have more and more network marketers that are prepared, right, when you come into this, to know that we really need to keep that focus on sustainability, right? Not just, oh my gosh, I need some money right now in my hand. Um, Also realizing that there is a huge difference between marketing and selling, and that's something that we didn't quite get into yesterday. It's one thing that I forgot to mention when I talked about the two phases that you go through in the engage process. um, Notice that when you're building your audience and engaging with your audience, that is the marketing part. The selling comes when you're having the second portion of your engagement, right? The one-on-one conversations, and then boom, you can make an offer and close the sale with ease. It does not have to be difficult to close a sale, right? It can actually be fun if you let it. And so that's what I want to cover with you today. The most important thing about selling, right? Because I told you this video is probably going to be the shortest one out of the three. Most important thing about selling, right, doing the selling step, is to make sure that you've done the other two steps first. I mean, that's really it. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Audra. So good to see you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's Stephanie there. And here is Audra right here. Hello, hello. So, I was just speaking with a group of hungry, determined entrepreneurs yesterday. I told you that's why I had to get off at the top of the hour yesterday. And one thing that one entrepreneur mentioned was, you got to make sure you're asking the right questions. And I used to say that. You're probably going to find some old video of me talking about making sure you're asking the right questions. And I want to actually shift that language, because a lot of times when we feel like we have to show up into the conversation to close ready with the right questions, all of a sudden we clam up. We clam up, which causes us to then shut off our listening skills, the active listening, and we start focusing in on what the right questions are and trying to see, at what point do I, make sure I say this just right to get this person to do XYZ. This is not about getting somebody to do something. This is not about having the right or wrong questions. When I've mentioned asking the right questions in the past, I'm talking about asking questions that actually will get answers from your prospect that will help you to determine whether or not they have the need, the desire, and the resources to buy. Now, there are many ways that you can ask the questions that get you those answers. Therefore, there isn't a right question, right? You can ask it in a lot of ways. So, for example, that's what we're going to cover today. For example, if you wanted to know whether or not the person actually has a need for what you want, right? More than likely, this will already get answered for you just off the fact that you're now in front of this person one on one. But just to confirm it, you could ask questions like, why do you believe that you're going through this issue right now or this challenge right now? What are some things that were going on that led up to this point? Um, what are some things that you've tried in the past to solve the problem, right? I can ask stuff like that. That helps me to determine whether or not they're going to have a need for my thing. Because one mistake that network marketers tend to make is that they're just waiting for, when do I get to pitch? When do I get to make my offer? And they haven't discovered the information that they need to know. So, for example, I've seen where people will offer their business opportunity not knowing that that person has already been in that opportunity before and they hated it. And now you're trying to offer that as a solution to them. Ooh, how that ain't gonna turn out good. Right? But people do it. You know why? Because they didn't take the time to ask the questions that get you the answers you need to know to see if they're qualified before you make the offer. And that's what's going to help you make the sales step, right? Build, engage, sell. That's what's going to help you to make the sales step easy on yourself, easy on them, right? This way you don't even have to make, like, when people talk about hard sales and stuff like that, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do the hard sell, because the person is going to be ready, credit card in hand, asking you, what is the next step? What do I need to do to get this? Excuse me. So you won't have to you really even ask, right? And just like Stephanie says, this has happened to her so many times. Nobody wants to be gotten, right? Nobody wants that. And if like I said yesterday, if you are looking to help someone solve a problem, right, then your focus needs to be on determining what their problem even is, right? And that's why these questions will start to cause this person to open up and get you the information that you need to know. Okay, so that's you determining the need. Now let's talk about the desire, right? Because if you have established that, yeah, they actually they need a solution and my solution is a good fit for them. So now let's go deeper. Let's see if they have the desire. Again, there are lots of folks who have a problem, but they have absolutely no intention on solving the problem anytime soon. One reason is that for some folks, they love to talk about their problem. It gets them attention. And so subconsciously, they feel like if they continue giving the sob story, people will have more compassion for them, more mercy on them, and give them more favor so that they can get what they want. It doesn't work like that, though, because everybody's got a sob story. And lots of people are going through problems right now, just like you. And so that doesn't work. Another reason why, some people have absolutely no desire to get a solution to their problem is because their mindset, they don't believe that there is one, or they don't believe that, they're deserving of having an answer to their problem just yet. There are some folks, again, they sabotage themselves starting up here, right? Believing that they are not worthy for whatever reason, right? Or that they caused this problem, therefore they need to live through it. And so they're not in a place where they're ready, right? They're not at a place that they are, that they even want your solution or any solution. So you have that. And like I said, there's lots of reasons why a person may not have the desire, but it is your responsibility to figure that out in the conversation, right? And again, you could ask questions like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how determined are you to solve this problem today? You could ask something like, if I could help you out, right? If I could pinpoint a great solution for you, would you grab it? Because I don't want to waste my time or yours, right? So it's questions like that you could ask them in order to determine that desire. And then finally, do they have the resources and the willingness to buy. Another mistake that a lot of network marketers make is they don't take the time to find the answer to this question before they make the offer. And so that leaves your prospect wide open to be able to object. Wide open, right? So if you fill these gaps ahead of time, you're not going to have the problem to pitch your offer. I don't like to say pitch, but you know what I'm saying. When you make the offer to the person. So, for example, you might have a special, right? A discount going on in your business right now where people can sign up for $1. And you're thinking, who the hell doesn't have $1, right? Everybody's got $1, right? Which I agree with. Just about everybody has $1. But not only do they have the means, right? Not only do they have the $1, but do they have the willingness to use said $1 on your offer? You need to actually know that before you make the offer. Now, how do we do that? Do we go and buy a crystal ball? Do we go and start taking mind reading lessons? No. What you're going to do is ask them about it. It's very simple. So, one of the examples that I used yesterday was if you were someone who is in skincare, right? And you wanted to offer your skincare products to someone, right? I may ask a question like, what brand do you typically buy? What skincare brand do you typically buy? Or what's been your favorite, right? And then I could ask them, why did they stop? And if they tell me the reason they stopped was because they couldn't afford it, well, now I know, like I have a range of what I can work with in terms of their money, because I know based on their past experience, most human beings make their today decision based on their past, unfortunately. But because I know this will help me to figure out, what their price range is that they're willing to spend money on. So for example, if I ask somebody about, what is their absolute favorite skincare brand, and they tell me, oh, I love Dermalogica. And I said, oh, great. Dermalogica is very respectable. It's very reliable. They've got great quality products. Why do you still use it now? And they tell me, well, no, because, everything that started happening with, COVID and stuff, and I got laid off, and now I can't afford to get that stuff, child. So now I go to CVS. If they tell me all that, that helps me to process that information to know they may love Dermalogica with their, $30 skin cleanser and their $25 exfoliant plus another $30 for the moisturizer. I know that at some point this person was willing to spend up to, $85 on skincare. And that's just for the basics. And so I'm going to look for things. And now that I know that they can't afford the $85, now I can make sure that whatever I offer them, if I give them like a skincare package, that it fits under the $85. That's my first thought. But then I'm going to ask more questions to go a little bit deeper, right? Because if I ask them, okay, well, now you shop at CVS for your skincare, what kinds of stuff do you enjoy buying from them? And see, this is why you've got to know your market. Because if you were in something like skincare, you need to know what the popular items are that people buy more frequently than others. You need to know what the hot brands are. And you need to know the prices, right? And you need to know how that compares to what you offer people. You need to know what the main ingredient is, the active ingredient, so that if you go and you research that and you discover that there's actually been problems with that active ingredient, then you could offer an alternative, right? Because you would bring that up in conversation. So for example, a lot of people want to make sure that they have smooth, even skin, and they maybe they have hyperpigmentation, which is like dark spots or whatever, for whatever reason, whether it's a scar or whatever. And so maybe this person in the past used Nadinola, right? Or they use Ambi cream. Well, that stuff has hydroquinone in it. Hydroquinone is actually starting to be banned in more and more countries because of its negative effects. So if you have a product that helps to, lighten, brighten the skin, smooth out the skin in the same way, but without that ingredient in it, that could be a topic of conversation that you could lead them down, right? So it's stuff like this. You're going to have to know your market, and you need to know that even before you get out here and try to build and engage so that you can sell. Super important stuff, right? Now, if you're someone who is in skincare or whatever else, some network marketing company where you're looking for serious network marketers, right? People that are going to commit to growing their business and they're actually going to produce some results for your team, then you may start asking questions about that. Things like, how long have you been in network marketing? What's been your experience? Why do you think you're leaning a little bit more towards skincare as opposed to, say, travel or Forex or something, Bitcoin, whatever? Why this? And you may even ask them, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to growing the business? How much time are you willing to put in to getting yourself to profit mode? Because we all know you're not going to do that overnight. You may ask them what has been the budget that they have set aside to get the coaching and the skill sets and the tools necessary for their business. Ask these kinds of questions, right? Ask them, the last company that you were in, how much did it cost for you to get started? What was the initial startup? When you start asking those questions, these help you to figure out what their spending behavior is like, what their investment behavior is like, what their belief about investing in themselves is like, in addition to knowing whether they have not only the resources, but also the willingness to buy the type of things that you offer. That's why this is so important. You can't just jump in there and be like, you can't just be like, oh, you like skincare? Well, child, I got some products for you. Did I ask you for products? I just told you I like skincare. How did we get here? Like, there's a disconnect. And again, if you really stop for a moment when you're having, this is probably a little crazy to say, but I'm telling you, this is what I do to make it make sense, right? When I go into a prospecting call, and for so many network marketers, we go into a prospecting conversation and we lose our minds. We do. We lose the logic. We lose where it is reasonable to ask people certain things or to bring up certain topics of conversation based on how well we know each other in the moment, right? So what I do is I pause for a moment and I think about dating, right? Because they're so similar. Having a conversation and offering somebody in your business something is very similar to when you're having a conversation and it involves like dating someone, getting to know them for the purpose of, having a relationship with them. It's really important to do. So, for example, how would I feel if, some man came up to me and we got to talking and they asked me right then and there when I first met them, hey, I'm free next week. I'm hoping you're free next week. Maybe we can run up to the chapel, go get married, you know what I'm saying? Have a commitment. What you think about that? I just met you. I don't even know your last name, right? Like, I don't know you, but you want me to make a commitment. And you know where the commitment is in our businesses? The commitment is in the sale. It's in the transaction. And that's why you need to establish trust before you try to create a transaction, right? Because again, nobody is going to spend their hard-earned money on something that they don't trust. This is why people are so weary before they buy something. They're like, oh, is that a scam or is it legit? They do that because they don't want to spend money on something that they shouldn't be trusting. And so they need to take whatever amount of time it's going to take that individual to build up enough trust in you, in your brand, before they buy it. And that could happen in one conversation. But more than likely it won't, especially if you're brand new. More than likely it won't. And so you really want to start to test certain questions that you ask so you can figure out the things that work for you in your particular business, your particular niche, your particular solution. Okay, you're going to have to test this out. And that's another reason why I'm telling you there aren't right questions and wrong questions to ask someone. There are certain folks that you can talk to about certain things that you wouldn't be able to talk to about another person. Why is that? It's based on the level of connection, the strength of the connection that you have with that person. Okay, so like, just like I would not say yes to somebody that came up to me and asked me to marry them the first day I met them, it would be a totally different thing if I had someone that I knew really well and I trusted them and I was in love with them and whatever other criteria that I have for my standards, and that person who fit that asked me to marry them. That would be different, right? I would say yes to that. So you can't just jump out there and be direct with just any and everybody. You really need to keep this human. Keep this human and think about how close of a connection do you have with this human being? Is it close enough to where it is clear that they trust you? It is clear that they respect you. It is clear that when you make a recommendation, that they're willing, right? They have the need, the desire, and the willingness to step up and do what it is that you recommend. And what does that look like? It varies. It varies. It's really more of a feeling, right? You both get to a certain comfort level where now you are both transparent, you're both opening up to one another. And when your prospect says, I could really use XYZ, and you've discovered, yes, they need it, they could really use it, they desire it, right? They're ready to solve their problem ASAP. And not only do they have the money for it, right? Not only does it fit in their budget, but they're ready to get it today. That's when you say, well, awesome, I have something that, based on what you shared with me, I believe this is one of the best solutions possible for you. But I don't know for sure, and you won't know for sure until you at least check it out. Are you willing to do that today? Right? See, when we don't establish that, because sometimes even when I'm looking for somebody to join my team or work with me in some capacity, even as a client, I may ask them up front, hey, look, okay, now I'm getting ready to ask you something that's a little bit uncomfortable, but just know that the only reason I'm asking you this is not to be nosy, but it's to make sure that I'm helping you in the best way possible that makes the most sense, that's going to get you the best results. Is that okay? And they're like, well, okay, well, what's the question? I need to know what your budget is. What's the budget that you have set for your business? And believe it or not, there are so many people out there here that don't even have a budget set for their business. And so when they tell you that, don't let them off the hook. Don't let them off the hook and say, oh, okay, you don't have a budget. Well, that's okay. I've got something for $1. And then they still turn you down. Right? We've got to fill those gaps up and give them no way of escape. And so just to put the odds in your favor that a person is going to give you a yes, you've got to establish this stuff. Okay. So I see Shaytoya is on. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you, beautiful lady. So yeah, sometimes I'll just flat out ask them. Now, mind you, this is after I have figured out that yes, they have a need for my offer. Yes, they have the desire. Now I'm going to ask them about the budget, because that's going to help me to figure out, can they afford me? Do they have the means to buy, and also the willingness to buy? Super important. All right. Don't get yourself caught up in this web of being too afraid to ask these questions, because you got to remember this again, this is not about you, right? This is not about me, the marketer. This is about serving them and helping them to solve a problem. Right? So how can I help them solve a problem when I don't have all the information? I need this information. This is not for me. This is not for me to get nosy, right? This is for me to make sure that I'm going to help them and not harm them. I've got to ask the questions. And sometimes the questions are going to be tough questions, uncomfortable questions, personal questions, but I got to ask it. And if you're just open, honest, and upfront enough to let them know that's why you're asking them these questions, they'll answer it. And then you take all the guessing out of your prospecting conversation. You take all the guessing out of making an offer. And when you take the guessing out of it, guess what else you take out? The fear. You don't have to be afraid anymore because you've got solid facts that lead you to no other conclusion but, hello, make this offer. It's as simple as that. All right. So I see Pia is on. Hello, hello. Great to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. So, with that, right? It's just like, if back when my kids were little, if I let them go play outside in the backyard, and the next thing I know, I hear somebody crying, child. And then here they come through the door. Ah! Okay, they're crying. I know something's wrong, but I don't know exactly what yet. Just like when your lead shows up, ah! You know something's wrong. You know they need something. You don't know exactly what it is for this person yet. Because kids cry, but they cry for different reasons. So I've got to pinpoint, why is my child crying? Just like when your prospect comes to you, you got to figure out why your prospect is crying. Why are they in pain? Why have they come to you? What's going on? Without it, you're not going to help them. And isn't that the whole reason why you're in business? To help them? Right? Because that's how you make your money, helping them. And if you can do that, if you give them a good experience in the process, they'll keep coming back, and that's what turns them into a loyal customer. If you make them feel good about the experience that they had with you, they will keep coming back, right? So my child comes in. Ah! Oh, baby, what's wrong? What happened? I need facts. I can't guess, right? Kid comes in, holding his knee. Oh, okay. Something's wrong with your knee. What's wrong with your knee? Did you break your knee? Did you scrape your knee? Did you bump your knee? Like, what's going on? So I'm asking, and I'm letting this person tell me what the problem is. I'm not going to tell them what their problem is. They need to tell me so that I can hurry up and find a solution. Because there's different solutions. There's lots of solutions for that one problem. I'm here to help them find the best one that I've got available, right? And so if my son comes in, he's, oh, mommy, my knee, I hurt my knee. How did you hurt your knee? I fell off my bike. Okay, and then what happened? Oh, I got a cut. Let me see it. Right? Then they show me, oh my gosh, yes, you have a little scratch here. It's bleeding. I have a solution for that. The first aid kit. We're going to clean this off. I'm going to put a little ointment on. I'm going to put on a Band-Aid. Good as new. You can go back outside and play. Right? It's the same for your prospects. Let them tell you what's wrong. Let them give you more facts, more details, more information so that you can use that to help you help them. And that way, when you have all those facts in front of you and you say these actual words based on what you shared with me, right? Because based on what they've said to you, that's the reason why you're going to make your offer or not. I've had people where I've had to say, well, based on what you shared with me, I don't believe that what I have for you is going to be the best fit. I can help look for some ways, look for some other options, or I can refer you to someone else, but I don't believe that what I have to offer you is going to be the best thing for you. There have been times I had to say that, and that's totally okay too. You're not trying to sell to anybody, you're trying to sell to your ideal customer, your ideal prospect. And if it turns out that you have the conversation and they're not the ideal prospect, don't offer them anything. Or don't offer them what you initially planned, right? If you have something else that will help them instead, offer that. But if you don't have anything, don't offer anything. It's got to match. Okay? So I say, hey, Mia's on. Thank you so much. She says, perfectly said. Right? We got to find the pain and then help them. Because you imagine if my son came in and he's holding his knee and he's like, ah, and I'm like, oh, Lord, you done broke your knee. And then I try to put it in a cast when all he did was scrape it. Not the right solution. Then he's going to be looking at me like I'm crazy and not trust me. Are you doing that to your prospects? They come into you, oh, they're crying, they're in pain, they need something, they're lacking something. And instead of listening to them, you've already determined what the solution is going to be. It turns out to be the wrong one for them. And now they don't trust you anymore and they never come back. Again, this is a common issue that network marketers have, and it's because they're not taking the time to build solid relationships with people. Got to do it. Every successful business and every successful person takes the time to learn their audience and build their customer base or their fan base or their clientele base. And that's why they're successful. See, a lot of times we think it's the product that makes them so successful or the price point that makes them so successful. The hell with that. Nobody cares about that. They really don't. What they care about is whether you care about them, how you make them feel. Once they have your solution, how did you just make them feel? That's the reason why a person will buy a Lexus over a Camry. That's the reason why a person will go and buy a Mercedes instead of, I don't know, a Kia Soul. I don't know, right? That's the reason. How does it make you feel when you get behind the wheel of a Mercedes E-Class? Right? And they'll pay for that feeling. How does it make you feel to not be bored and have an amazing experience with your family because y'all sat there and played Candyland? And the Candyland game cost you, I don't know, how much do board games cost now? $14.99 or something like that. Right? Was it worth the $14.99? Hell yeah, because y'all had a great time. And it created an amazing memory. It was worth it for you to pay for that. You're going to go back to Milton Bradley and buy some more of their games. Right? When they come out with more stuff, you're probably going to buy more stuff. Was it worth it for you to, pay that $15 a month for Netflix so that you're not bored? Was it worth it for you to buy that book that helps you to look at things from a different perspective and improve your mindset? You know what I'm saying? You pay for the stuff that makes you feel better now than you did before you found it. If it gives you a good feeling, a good experience, it's worth it. And the price point really doesn't matter. Okay? So think about that. What kind of experience are you giving the person? What kind of environment are you creating in this conversation that you're having? Right? I mentioned yesterday, I want to bring this up real quick. I mentioned yesterday that, and I don't think I mentioned it on here. I think I mentioned it in the private training that I did about prospecting. But I did mention that sometimes one of the questions that I will ask them is going to be either about the goals that they have, or it's going to be about the concerns that they have. And which one I ask depends on the person. And see, again, this is why there's no right or wrong questions, generally speaking, because I don't know who I'm going to have sitting in front of me. I don't know. And that's a part of the adventure. I don't want you to see it as, the unknown to be afraid of. I want you to see it as an adventure you're about to go on when you have this conversation. You just don't know what the twists and turns are going to be and how exciting this conversation can end up being for both of you, right? So, and rewarding. So it's the person's personality. When I get to talking to them and I see, okay, this person is coming across as having a very sunny disposition, and they're, very positive. They have realized that they have a problem, but that's not so much holding them back to the point that they feel completely stuck. They're trying to be proactive about their problem and get it solved now before it gets any worse. That person, I'll probably ask, about their goals and stuff. versus a person who comes across to me as someone who is in despair or someone who is stuck in that survival mode or that desperation mode. I might ask them about their concerns more so than their goals, because the what their focus is on is going to cause them to give me an answer to the question that's not going to help me help them, right? If I'm sitting there talking to a person that's in panic mode, they can't think clearly enough to tell me what their goals are for long term. They're not thinking about long term right now. They're thinking about right now. They're stuck in a problem. What are they going to do? They're in fight or flight. It's chaos going on in their brain right now. I can't ask them about a steady, solid plan. You know what I mean? So that's a little different. And that's why I'm saying you really need to start testing out certain questions that you ask and seeing how effective they are in helping you to lead this person down a path where they find their solution through you. Okay. Now, if you need additional resources on how to make that happen, this is exactly why you need to do this. You need to save yourself some time. And instead of going out here online, trying to research it, Google it, get on YouTube and watch a bunch of videos, and you've been sitting there for 3 hours, child, you still don't have your answer, get on Val's Victory VIP list for the exclusive details on how to boost your profits now, including making sure that you're asking questions that lead you to qualifying a person, knowing, not guessing, but knowing whether or not this person is a good fit, and knowing whether or not you should make your offer. And when you do it this way, this helps to avoid a lot of common objections average network marketer will get. Things like, I don't have the money right now. Oh, I didn't know I was going to have to pay now. Can you get me next week when I get paid? The hell you think I'm talking to you for today? Right? You get to avoid stuff like that. You'd avoid stuff like, oh, well, that costs a little more than I was expecting. I don't have that. And you offered them something for $10. You get what I'm talking about? You know, you were like, ain't no way this person's going to object to $10. And then they do. So, but they don't, and they won't do that when you take the time to ask the questions, right? And to create an atmosphere for them. And you simply do it by being yourself. You do it with a heart of, I'm here to help. All right. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to, trick you or manipulate you into buying anything. I'm just here to figure out a little more about you. And the more that I learn about you, the more I know whether or not I should make that offer to you. Right. It's as simple as that. This is how simple it can be to grow your business every single day. To build up your audience by putting out that content on your chosen platform, to engage with your audience by then answering those comments, going into groups and meeting new people, or even following up inside of Messenger or on a Zoom call. And then you can sell to your audience by making an offer only when it makes sense to do it. You do that every day, you're closing sales every day. You close sales every day, you ain't going nowhere. Right? Things are going to continue to improve because your skill set is improving. This is why go for no ain't effective, y'all. This is a waste of damn time. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's my feeling. I'm going to tell you why. When you go for no, you're getting a lot of rejection and you don't know why. You don't know why. So you can't fix it. You cannot improve what you're not tracking. The only thing that you know is people keep turning you down. And now you feel humiliated. You feel like a failure. You feel like, you have to force yourself to tell yourself, oh my gosh, you know what? I don't care about them. I'm going to get out here and I'm going to keep going anyway. What the hell does that solve? Nothing. Because there's a skill involved with closing. And so if you keep getting no's, you need to figure out why so you can fix it and start getting yeses. That's why that crap that's why that doesn't work. Okay. So you want to make sure that, if you improve your skills though, if you improve your skills and then you keep practicing and practicing, that continues to improve them, strengthen them, make you better, then you'll be able to get better at your closing. And you'll start to increase the amount of sales you get without having to increase the amount of people that you talk to. You're welcome. So, what are y'all waiting for? Head on over to ValerieWalton.com. The site is launched. Now you get to see the full site. Head over there, and right at the very top of the page, you're going to see that you can join Val's Victory VIP list. Okay. When you're there, it's only my list that gets the exclusive information on how and training on how they can develop a set of questions for their business, their niche, and learn, oh, this these are the types of questions that I want to make sure that I start asking. I'm going to test them out. Some questions I might throw out, some questions I might keep or change up a bit, so it sounds more like me, and it actually helps me figure out, should I make the offer. Cool stuff. So get on there, and I've got some fresh new things soon, including a way for you to take your freebie offers and turn them into paid. You can get paid free lead magnets. I'm gonna show you how to do that. Thanks to a dear friend of mine who's going to host that training and course. And then also, I have a way for you to get access to 365 days, right? Your whole 2022 content already created for you. Who'd like that? I got access to that. So get on the newsletter so you can learn more about that stuff, right? Get on that Victory VIP list. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. And take these trainings. Make sure that you go back to them, because this is really all you need to do every single day, right? This is how simple you can keep things. All the other stuff is extra, right? It's icing on the cake, but first you got to bake the cake. Okay. I'll see you guys back here next week. Same Profitpreneur time, same Profitpreneur channel, live at 5. Bye.